NCRT 6th class, Chapter 7. Improve your English skills. From a kingdom to an emperor. Russian rupees. Roshan clutched the crisp notes that her grandfather had given her on birthday. While she badly wanted to buy a new CD, she also wanted to just see and feel the branded new coats. It was then that she noticed that all of them had a smiling face of Gandhiji printed on the right and the tiny set of lines on the left. What were the lines there for? She wondered. The lines that we see on our notes and coins have a long history. They were carved in stone and placed on top of massive stone pillars at Sarnath, about which you read in chapter 6. Ashoka was one of the greatest rulers known to history, and one of the instruction inscription were inscribed on the pillar as well as on rock surface. Before we find out what was written these inscriptions, let us see why his kingdom was called an emperor. The emperor that Asok ruled was founded by his grandfather Chandragupta Maurya. More than 23 years ago, Chandragupta was supported by a wise man named Chanakya Kautil. Many of Chanakya ideas were written down in book called Arthashastra. Dynasty. When members of the same family become rulers one after another, the families is often called a dynasty. The Maurya were dynasty with three important rulers: Chandragupta, his son Bindusar, and Bindusar's son Ashoka. There were several cities in the emperor marked with black dots on the map. These include the capitals Patliputra, Takshashila, and Ujjain. Takshashila was a gateway to the northwest, including Central Asia, while Ujjain lay on the route from north to the South India. Merchant, officially, and craftsperson probably lived in these cities. In other areas, there were villages of farmers and herders. In some areas, such as central India, and there were forests where people gathered forest produce and hunted animals for food. People in different parts of the emperor spoke different languages. They probably had different kind of food and wore different kind of clothes as well. How are emperor different from kingdoms? Emperor need more resources than the kings because emperor are larger than kingdoms and needed to be the protected by big armies. So also they need a largest number of officials who collect taxes. Ruling the emperor, as the emperor was so large, different parts were ruled differently. The area around Patliputra was under direct control of the emperor. This meant that officials were appointed to collect taxes from farmers, herders, craftspersons, and traders who lived in villages and towns in the areas. Officially also punished those who observed the ruler orders. Many of these officials were given salaries. Messenger went to and fro. Spices kept a watch on the official, and of course the emperor supervised them all with the help of members, the royal family, and senior ministers. There were others areas of prominence. Each of these was ruled from a provincial capital such as the Takshashila Ujjain. Although there was some amount control for Patliputra, and royal princes were often sent as governors, local customs and rules were probably followed. Besides, there was vast areas between those central areas. The Mauryas tried to control road and rivers, which were important for transport, and to collect whatever resources were available as a tax and tribute. For example, the Ashwadama tells us that the northwest was important for blanket, as South India for its gold, precious stone. It is possible that these resources were collected as tribute. Unlike taxes, which were collected on a regular basis, tribute was collected as and when it was possible from people who gave a variety of things more or less willingly. There were also the forest regions. People living in this area were more or less independent but may have been expected to provide elephant timbers, honey, waxes to the Mauryan officials. The empress and the capital city, Megasthenes, was an ambassador who was sent to the court of Chandragupta by this Greek ruler of West named Seleucus Nicator. Megasthenes wrote an account about what he saw. Here's a part of his description. The occasion on which the emperor appears in public are celebrated with grand royal processions. He is carried in golden palanquins, his cart ride elephant decorated with gold and silver. Some of the gods carry trees on which leaves bird, including flock of trained parrot circles about the head of the emperor. The king is normally surrounded by armed women. He is afraid that someone may try to kill. He has a special servant to taste the food before he eats. He never sleeps in the same bedroom or 2 nights. And about Patliputra, modern Patnam. He wrote, "This is a large and beautiful city. It is surrounded by massive wall. It has 570 towers and 64 gates. The house of 2 and 3 stories are built for wood and mud bricks. The king palace is also of wood and decorated with a stone carving. It is surrounded with a garden and enclosures from the keeping bird. What do you think? The king had a special servant to taste food he ate. Asok, a unique ruler. The most famous Maurya ruler was Asok. He was the first ruler who tried to take his message to the people through the inscriptions. Most of Asoka inscriptions were in Prakrit and were written in the Brahmi script. Ashoka war in Kalinga. Kalinga is the ancient name of coastal Orissa. See map 5, page 63. Ashoka fought a war to conquer Kalinga. However, he was so horrified when he saw the violence and blood that he decided not to fight any more wars. He is the only king in the history of the world who gave up on conquest after winning a war. Asoka inscription describe the Kaling War. This is what Ashoka declared in one of the inscriptions. 80 years after becoming king, I conquered Kalinga. About a lakh and half people were captured and more than lakh people were killed. This filled me with a sorrow. Why? Whenever an independent land is conquered, lakh peoples of die, and many are taken promiser. Brahmin and monk also die. People who are kind to their relatives and friends, to their slaves and servants, die or lose their loved ones. That is why I am sad and have decided to observe them and to teach us other about it was well. I believe that winning people over through them is much better than conquering them through the force. I am inscripting this message for the future so that my sons and grandsons after me should not think about form. Instead, they should try to think about how to spread them. How did the Kalanga war bring about a change in Ashoka attitude towards her? Dham is a Prakrit word for Sanskrit term dham. What was the Ashoka Dham? Ashoka Dham did not involve worships of gold, a performance of sacrifice. He felt that just as a father tries to teach his children, he had duty to instruct his subject. His was also inspired by the teaching of Buddha. There were a numbers of problems that troubles him. People in the empire followed different religions and this sometimes led to conflict. Animals were sacrificed, slaves and servants were illiterate. Besides, there were quarrels in families and among his neighbors. Ashoka felt it was his duty to solve this problem. So he appointed official known as a Dham Mahatma who went from place to place teaching people about Dham. Beside Ashok got his message inscribed on rock and pillar, instructing his official to read his message to those who could not read it themselves. Ashoka was sent messenger to spread ideas about them to others land such as Syria, Egypt, Greece, and his son Mahendra and daughter Sumitra Sri Lanka try and identify these on map 6 pages 70. He built road, ducts, wells and built rest house beside the arrange for medical treatment for both human beings and animals. Ashoka message to the subject. People perform variety of rituals when they fall ill, when their children get married, when children are born, or when they go on journey. These rituals are not useful if instant people observe others practice. This would be more fruitful. What are these others practice? These are being gentle with slaves and servants, respecting one's elder, treating all creatures with compassion, giving gift to the Brahmins and monks. It is the both wrong to praise one's own religions and criticize another. Each one should respect the other's religions. If one praise one religious while criticizing another's, actually is doing the greater harm to one's religion. Therefore, one should try to understand the main ideas of another religious and respect it. Imagine you will be Kalinga and your parents have suffered in war. Messengers from Ashoka have just arrived with new ideas about them. Describe the dialogue between them and your parents. Make a list of occupation of people who lived in with the Mauryan empires. Complete the following sentence. Official the collect from the area under direct control of the ruler. Royal princes often went to the provinces as the Mauryan ruler tried to control and which were important for transport. People in forest region provide the Mauryan official with state whether true and false. Ujjain was the gateway to the northwest. Chandragupt's ideas were written down in the Asthama. Kalinga was the initial name of Bengal. Most of Asoka inscriptions are in the Brahmin script. Thank you for watching.